Hello and welcome back to Howarth Timber and Building Supplies, the 1840 podcast. I'm Alix Maude and I'll be your host on today's episode of Women in Merchanting and how we can attract people to choose the building industry as a career rather than typically falling into it. So today I'm delighted to be joined by Ginny Brown from Restec Roofing Systems to discuss what led her to join the building industry 12 years ago as a second career and to highlight what we can do to attract the younger generation to choose the building industry as a career when leaving education. So welcome.
Thanks, Alix.
So it's great to have you on board. Can you just give us an overview of who you are and what you do?
Okay, so like you said, I'm Ginny Brown from Restec Roofing Systems. We're a manufacturer of liquid coatings and waterproofing systems, and we sell to the merchant market, so people like yourselves, Howarth Timber, and nationwide merchants selling our fabulous products. So like you said, I've been in the roofing industry for the last 12 years.
Yeah. So in terms of your background, obviously, when we spoke, you actually only joined 12 years ago. So what did you do before you joined the building industry?
Okay, well, that's I was actually 40 when I joined, so you can fill in the gaps of how old I am. It's out there now. So, yeah, had quite a full career, really. When I was younger, I had aspirations of being someone quite famous. I was really into amateur dramatics, singing, dancing. I was always on the stage. And when anyone talked about careers, I just kind of went, well, I don't think that's going to apply to me. I'm obviously going to be famous. And here I am on a podcast. So it's kind of worked in a way. But joking aside, I didn't really have a career path, as a lot of us don't. We kind of fall into things. But I was lucky enough to go to university, did a degree, but not in a vocational subject. So kind of more like humanities, English and media. That just kind of led me then into looking at kind of general jobs. Yeah. When I say general jobs, my background as like part-time work round studies had been like hospitality industry. I'd been a blue coat at Pontins. So I wasn't afraid of dealing with people and putting myself out there. And I could see my strengths as communication skills and things like that. So thinking back now, it is quite a long time ago, but my first kind of real proper jobs, if you like, were I actually went to become a recruitment consultant in the high street recruitment agency. And what that gave me was a really good understanding of like the commercial world. Yeah. So I was going into different businesses, dealing with temporary and permanent recruitment. So I'd often spend time within businesses and within teams, working out the right kind of culture fit for people when they're looking for jobs. So when I look back, I did 10 years on the high street recruitment, really enjoyed it. And I was dealing with people that were legal secretaries, machine operators, drivers for, industrial companies and warehouses, and just lots of diverse skill sets. So I gained at quite an early age, really, in my 20s, kind of that ability to work with teams and understand personalities. And it was always also very target driven, so it was a very sales orientated role. So I was to engage that my skill set was people and selling and hopefully hitting targets. So nothing really related with construction apart from probably recruiting into some of those businesses.
And obviously you got an idea of all the different jobs that were out there from obviously legal.
Correct, yeah. It gave
industry.
me an understanding that without people processing orders, the people out there selling had no one to support them in a role. So I kind of understood the kind of operational side of businesses rather than just the external face of a business that you see. So yeah, I feel blessed that it was a great career. I had 10 years of that. And then I took a break to have a family. We had our own company, myself and my husband. He's a footwear designer. So I supported him through a really interesting time, and it fitted around our family really well. So I was around for the kids when they were little, which was great. And then we get to the time when I'm thinking about getting back to work.
Yeah, full time. And
it was just, it felt right. I think I was ready to do that. And that's where I first led to stepping into the construction and roofing industry, obviously, particularly.
So what made you decide that roofing or construction was the industry that you wanted to go into from recruitment? Because it's very, very different.
Completely, yeah. I'll be honest with you, the factors of my choice were based on where the job was, and it was based close to home, so I was there nearby for the kids when they needed me at school and things like that, and support. And could I do the job? So I obviously looked at my skill set, sales support, administration, nothing too high flying. So, you know, I looked at something I thought I could do. And I'll be honest with you, when I first got the phone call to go for an interview with the first roofing company I joined, which was Hertelan, and they manufactured rubber roofing products. I did have to actually ask the manager who rang me, John, who I'm still really good friends with now. He rang me for an interview, and I had to actually admit, I said, I've got to be honest, I don't know what your company does. I'd applied to so many jobs. It was literally just I think I'll be able to do that. I'll put myself forward. So it was a completely unconscious decision. Looking back now, I'm just blessed. It's worked out so well for me that 12 years on, I'm like really enjoying everything about the roofing industry, and I've seen so many opportunities either present themselves to me or I found myself. So yeah, if I had my time again, I often do say I wish I'd stepped into it in my 20s.
Yeah,
because I could even be even more successful. But I'm quite young at heart, and I think I've still got a lot to give to the roofing industry.
Absolutely. And I think it doesn't matter what age you join the industry. I think once you're in it, you'll probably find you'll never come back out.
That's what everyone says, yeah.
Absolutely. Certainly from my perspective when I joined 12 years ago. So obviously today we want to talk about attracting people to join the industry, but I think it's really important that we look at where it all starts, to be honest. So how do you think we can attract the younger generation to choose us as an industry? Because our industry doesn't really get spoken about very often. It's probably the last thing on a careers list, if it even exists on a careers list. So what do you think we need to do within the industry to highlight us as an option?
I think it's awareness. It's really simple things, and a lot of what I'm saying today is just personal to me. So I'm not, an authority out there on this is how it should be. I've got these results from talking to different people. It's about awareness and the visibility and branding. Everybody, especially younger people, are so influenced by images of things. And if you can portray a positive image of an industry just by being happy in your job, succeeding and actually grasping opportunities that are put in front of you, and you're just being a really good example of what you could be. I hope I'm doing that to my children who are now late teenagers. And it's just making it look accessible as well. I think probably when I was growing up, I was, 70s and 80s child, you would just think of the industry as being tradespeople and predominantly men. You would just think if you had it was always such and sons on vans. You wouldn't see any identity there as being a female-orientated industry. You wouldn't necessarily think about the support within the industry. Like when I said I started in sales support, and it gave me a really good understanding of what happens in an order processing world for roofing materials to get to site, and all the support in the technical side of things. So you need to be offering good mentorship, opportunities for training, and it's just reaching out. These kind of things are fabulous. They're just a good advert for the industry. It's making it look attractive, not just getting on a roof or getting on a building site and getting dirty. There's lots of background work that you can actually
and I think that's the thing, that everybody sees the building industry as just a trade, but actually, like you said, the amount of jobs out there, whether it's working in procurement like I do or yourselves in sales, and supporting how we get those products into the hands of the customers, the tradesmen, to use them. People forget that there's that side of support, and ultimately there are all other jobs available within the building industry.
Definitely.
That we need to kind of highlight a bit better than what we do. And I think from my point of view, and from just personal experience, I fell into the industry 12 years ago and didn't even know that procurement was even part of it. At that point. I just was in a role in a department, and ultimately it's led me to where I am today. But I think if that was highlighted more in schools and in colleges and universities, then that would probably lead people down certain career paths that at the minute aren't traditionally spoke about.
Exactly.
So obviously you've done quite a bit of work recently around Careers Week, and we've seen that obviously that you've been posting on LinkedIn of the work that you've been doing. Do you just want to tell us what you did for Careers Week and how successful you think those types of events are moving forward to highlight our industry?
Definitely. Well, a lot of what I do has been, from myself. I've just been interested in spreading the word, mainly because I've had such a positive experience of joining the industry, like I say, 12 years ago, starting in sales support. And I'm now sales manager, and I think there's still more to come for me, in the industry, which is great. I'm with the right employer. Roberts Manufacturing has got so many opportunities for me. So I wanted to really spread that word, and that's been supported by my employer as well. They just let me be who I am, which is brilliant. So it kind of goes back, really, if I go right back to when I first started branching out from the office role when I was working at Carlisle Construction Materials. There was work that I was doing with the NFRC and SPRA, which is the National Federation of Roofing Contractors and Single Ply Roofing Association. So trade associations, and they were very supportive with the training aspect of my job. So I started getting involved with different areas, and the training is a big thing with our industry and our products. And it was basically, I met people through networking at these events. So the first person I met was Livia Williams, who was one of the founding members of Women in Roofing. So I joined Women in Roofing, and since then, this has now become Raise the Roof as well. And these organisations, they're kind of voluntary networking groups, but they're looking to support and push forward diversity and raising standards in the industry. So it's been a really good collaboration with people, of like-minded individuals in the industry. So I've gained a lot from them. And I'm getting to the point of how I got involved with the Careers Week. But basically, during my work with Raise the Roof, that is open to anybody in the roofing industry. It doesn't matter what level anybody is. If they're packing a pallet in a warehouse, they're in roofing, they can join us. They can see what else is in the industry. It's all on LinkedIn. It's very accessible. So during that, we put forward opportunities for people to get involved in more courses and things like that. So I spent a day last year on a STEM ambassador course through Go Construct.
Right.
So if anyone is interested in that as well, I'd really recommend it. It's just a day's course, and it's basically how you could present and portray yourselves as a mentor, or a coach to younger people in schools and academies and on apprenticeships. So I spent a day, I've got my hair was covering it up. I've got my STEM ambassador badge on there. And STEM, if anyone doesn't know what it stands for, is science, technology, engineering and maths. So there's a whole requirement out there from schools and academies for support from people in industries using these skills that can promote and share their experiences with children. It is quite heavily science related. So a lot of the opportunities that come up is like things like Space Week and it's stuff that's way out of my depth. But National Careers Week came up, and that just spoke to me that they're just looking for people in different industries to go and speak to schools. And I just thought, again, it's that opening the door, or just in someone's mind to I've never thought of going on a roof or looking at what the roofing industry involves. So that was the main.
So what sort of reaction did you get when you were presenting to these? Because they were probably about 6, 7.
They're a bit
older than that.
They're year five. So I think they're more like 9, 10.
So they're at a point of where they're starting to form ideas and look at what they want to do and what they're interested in. So their early aspirations are really starting to come to light, getting ready really to leave the primary schools, ready to go into high schools, where they'll definitely be given a lot more formal guidance around the age of 13 to 15. So it's quite interesting that you've got people already interested at that age, because you've hit really the best spot, really, to get them interested.
I didn't know what to expect, to be honest. Thinking back to how my children would have been, would they be receptive at that age? And my main thing was making a presentation that was going to be quite accessible to them, that wasn't too wordy. I'm not using difficult language for them, without being absolutely patronising, but just kind of drawing them in a little bit to hopefully educate, but just make it just sound interesting. It was all very visual. So I put together a presentation. I really enjoyed doing that, actually. I do this in my own time outside of work, but it was just drew upon, I used a lot of my experience within the 12 years of, and I started really of like who's who in roofing, what jobs, and ask an open question to a group of school children. When you think about roofing as a job or an industry, what do you think? And I don't know whether they'd had a little bit of introduction that I was coming, because both classes said the jobs that people do in roofing are people that make things that go onto roofs. And I was thinking, that wouldn't have been my first thing. I just literally thought they were going to say a roofer.
Yeah,
and that's where I was then going to say,
yeah,
you say that, but look at all these other skills and jobs underneath that person who's actually fitting the roof. So I kind of broke it down, just went through people's jobs, what they did, put a few images out there to give them, an idea that there is people sitting in nice clean offices in the roofing industry, as well as people out on a really cold building site. And then obviously all the sales and, the architects, the designers, the warehouse operatives, the drivers, the merchants selling the products, and and the trainers, all these skills and jobs are open in this industry. That probably took quite a bit of the time up. And then I went through my background to try and make, to show that I've had all these experiences. So I obviously showed pictures of me standing in a cold builder's merchant's yard promoting my products, which is a big part of my job, but also showed that, I'd travelled to Holland to go around a factory that used to make still does make the EPDM for my previous company.
Yeah.
And I've been to awards ceremonies. Just last week I did, so there's some nice elements that really celebrate
the different
industry.
sides of the actual job rather than just being in front of customers, learning new products.
Exactly. So, and then the training side, how we promote the training to contractors and work with our trainers. So, so it was a fun presentation that I got so much interaction from the children with that I felt was to me an indication that had spoke to them.
Yeah.
And just getting them involved in things like, what my product was. I had to take a step away from my normal sales role of like promoting my product. I was conscious I didn't want to make it all about Restec and what brilliant products we've got and what they do. But I also engaged them with what that meant when we talk about products.
Do you think we do enough of those types of events within our industry to highlight it?
We probably don't, but I think the more people, I'm a lone voice, but when I say that, I'm part of Raise the Roof.
Yeah.
And there's some amazing people I work with in that organisation. Denise Cherry, who's in the Yorkshire Independent Training for Roofing organisation, she pushes a lot of the training with colleges. So I think the more collaborations we do, from a manufacturing point of view, we've got in-house expertise and we've got a lot of experience. We've got all of our trainers, and nearly all of them are ex-roofers. So they've actually been on the roofs for sometimes, up to 20 years, and then they start becoming our trainers. So, and they're almost like sales and training because they're promoting products, but they're talking to customers and they're representing our company. So we've got such a lot of experience to offer the industry.
Yeah.
It's all about resources and time. We've all got jobs to do. So, but if we all reach out a little bit and just represent the industry in a positive light, it's going to speak to younger people along the way.
Do you think that builders merchants do enough to highlight the job roles that are available within our industry? Because recently there's been a merchant that's opened up and advertised that there's 18 to 20 local jobs now available to support the community, and 2 of those jobs are going to be apprenticeships. Obviously, getting people in from an apprenticeship point of view is great, but do you think that's enough to really highlight what is available in our industry, or there is the more that a merchant can do with suppliers to highlight what is available?
I think there's potential everywhere, and I think we're at a point, aren't we, that we've got so many platforms to communicate on now. And I've seen an increase. Maybe it's coincided with my work with Restec, because we sell to the merchant market. So I'm following a lot of merchants a lot more. but the social media has really stepped up for everybody, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think we're all using it as not just advertising ourselves to come and buy from us. It's about a brand awareness. And I think, like you say, having that, reaching out to teenagers who might be just like myself years ago, not sure what they want to do, and just making it look accessible.
Yeah, because I think sometimes we rely on friends, family, parents
Definitely.
that are in the trade, that are doing either being a joiner or plumber or anything like that, and we forget that there's other things that can influence
Definitely, yeah.
children that haven't got that local community around them within this industry, of how they actually get to find out about us and what they can do within it if it's of interest.
Definitely. I think all the positive messages that can get out there, it's going to be better. And I think the visibility of ourselves, even down to our product branding, it looks attractive. You know, everyone's stepped up, I think, with how we're all looking out there. And I know that sounds quite superficial, but that's what all younger people are kind of, looking at all the time. So if we can get through those social media platforms and communicate, definitely.
Yeah, and there's definitely like more and more women coming through, especially from even trades point of view as well as back office, and I think that's great that we're now becoming more of a mixed community within our industry rather than it just being male dominated like we've had in previous years. So just got one last question, which I think would be quite interesting, certainly from my point of view, is a little bit away from careers and bringing in young people, but ultimately I just want to ask you, what do you think makes a great merchant from a supplier's perspective?
Okay, that's a great question, isn't it? Obviously one with the Restec product range on their shelves.
Absolutely,
I think that would be the key thing. But no, joking aside, I think it's a real collaboration and an engagement between teams. So it's a partnership, really. Yeah. From a supplier's point of view, the more you kind of get back from a team. I mean, I kind of put in a lot of effort with teams, and I'm sure a lot of your suppliers do. You know, it isn't just down to getting an order on the shelf. That's kind of the bit that's done. Yeah. The important bit is the training and upskilling of the teams, identifying where there is potential as well in teams for people to become a champion of your brand, and you kind of incentivize them and just acknowledge them. So it's the interaction of teams. It's all about people, isn't it?
Definitely, and I think
that's so reassuring in the world that we've kind of starting to go into a very kind of AI world. I think sometimes I'm hoping in the merchant market we can hold on to like the real people interaction a little bit longer. Because I think that the teams that I've really excelled with, and when I say excelled with, it just seems like it goes hand in hand, that when you get on really well with a team and you engage with them and get them on board with you and your product, their sales of that product will reflect that. And so it's kind of a two-way street, really. Yeah. But definitely the teams that are a little bit or not encouraged to get involved with suppliers,
they probably don't see the benefit as much.
Exactly, yeah. So I think it's definitely down to the collaboration and partnership with the suppliers and the teams.
Building strong relationships.
Definitely, all about that.
Well, thank you for that. I just wanted to round up on a couple of questions just before we come to a close. So I've just got a couple of quick fire questions, just a little bit about you. Just say it as it comes to you. What's the favourite part of your job?
Wow. I think it's doing these kind of things. Like every day is a little bit different.
Definitely.
And the travel that I do, I cover down to south of Birmingham up to the northeast. So
wow, big area.
It's a big area, and I just love the variety of it, the different people I meet. I'm answering with lots of answers here, aren't I? There's not one thing.
There's not just one here.
Yeah, I think it's just the diversity of everything. I like to get involved. I'm one of these people just put my hand up to say yes, I'll do that, and get involved with it. So just the variety really is brilliant. So
what's the most difficult part of your job?
The most difficult part of my job is probably avoiding fast food places to eat, because I'm on the road all the time and I'm always trying to be good. But there's so many places now. So being good, not eating every
Healthy
time I
diet.
stop. But that's not a bad thing, is it?
No.
I'm in control of that. So, yeah.
Definitely. And what would you say is the most crucial trait someone needs to possess in your job role?
In my job role as a salesperson, you see, you've got to be kind of a bit of everything.
Yeah.
So it is a hard one to say just the most important trait, but I think you've got to just be pretty resilient.
Definitely.
You get a knockback, that's fine. You go to the next door, that'll open for you. Understanding that, your limitations of what you can and can't do. But yeah, resilience is a good thing, and sense of humour.
Yeah, definitely need a sense of humour. But yeah, resilience is always key. And I think that's, even from our point of view as a merchant,
Definitely.
dealing with customers, don't always get that sale, certainly in our merchants. So having that resilience in all areas within building industry, I definitely think is a great trait to have. What is the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Oh, there is one, and I've used it. I've used it when in my, when I've been talking to people or helping other people in the teams. I think it's a little bit related to resilience. Is when something negative does happen, I literally, push it to one side and move on. So I don't know whether that's, a bit of advice is don't let things get to you.
Don't look back, yeah.
Yeah, don't look back. Don't regret anything. Be really positive, and just make the next thing count. Just do everything as best as you can do, and that's all you can do, isn't it?
Fantastic. So some great answers there. So resilience, communication, diversity of your job.
I hope so.
Yeah, and definitely, not looking back when you do have any negative experiences, I think is key. I think learning from it and just moving forward is always great. Well, thank you very much for your time. It's been great speaking to you, and it's been great to just get an insight into what you've been up to recently, and especially with getting more people to join the industry, especially at children's age of 7, 8 onwards. I think it's important that we do try and get as much as we can into schools, colleges, universities, because it is a career that unfortunately is at the bottom of the list. And if we can all just do our part to help move it slowly up, even if it hits the middle of the list, at least we're getting a little bit more out of it moving forward, and hopefully we'll see a lot more people coming through from a younger age. So thank you very much for everybody that's listened today. I hope you've all enjoyed it. Obviously it's my second one back, so hopefully I haven't put you off from the first one and you've enjoyed this one as well. If you've enjoyed watching it, please give us a follow and like on our social medias. Thanks again for your time.
Thank you.